So, good evening and welcome back to Quarantine Files in the JW Marriott in Singapore. This is day 3. And today there's no theatrics like yesterday. I'm just a little bit tired. I've, to start with the end, tried to run longer than yesterday because a few of the comments were, what else can I do? So I thought I'd take the challenge, and I did 6K, also a little bit faster. But it's getting very dangerous now. I will post the different times in the video, and you'll be able to see them in a minute. I'm wondering what you guys think is the maximum length that I can do in this room, and what time challenge I should have. Maybe you can comment down below, as they say. And by the way, if you're already commenting, don't forget to subscribe. I have a bet with my boss that I'll manage to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of this quarantine. We are in day 3, and I think I have 20 subscribers, but I'm nearly close to 100 viewers on my first video that I ever posted, and that was on the trip over to Germany on Singapore Airlines, which was great, but at the same time I knew what I was letting myself into. So yeah, have a look at these other videos, and don't forget to subscribe. So what happened today? I think today was my first work day in quarantine ever. I think there's very few people who actually have their first work day in quarantine. Not that it was my first work day at all, but in quarantine. And yeah, I thought it would be very busy, but as you'll see, I got up a little bit later than I would have wanted to. Obviously the jet lag is kicking in. So about 7:15 or so, I finally managed to get up, and I will post boiling water and making tea as one of these movies where it's the sound that matters. So no voiceover or no music for a little bit of morning meditation. And then I decided I had to better dress up properly to feel really like working and not like holidays. So I ironed the shirt, and I put on a tie. I didn't put on the suit jacket, that would have been a little bit too crazy. And then I proceeded to my meeting. So this started at 8:30 this morning, and I finished around 6:15. I had about an hour break for lunch, I called the colleagues in Singapore that I hadn't seen for the last 2 weeks and recapped on all the things we discussed in the last 2 weeks in Germany. So I think that was great to catch up. And yes, of course, you can call also from Germany, but the time difference is still quite big. So it was easier to spend a good 2 hours together this way. Then I had a Chinese lesson. Unfortunately, I didn't do my Gonke, my homework, so that was quite bad, and the teacher wasn't too pleased with me. But it was good fun. And then I had lunch and a series of quite complicated meetings this afternoon, where the guys in Germany called in quite early. We started at 7:30 in Germany, so I'm very thankful for them. This was a long day and quite complicated. And then I also had a chat with the sales force in Europe, which was good fun. And again, it's always so difficult when it's removed or remote. But yeah, that's what you have to do. So maybe what I wanted to talk about is that I had a little bit of a squishy heart in just after my last meetings, because my partner came over to wave at me from the street, and I waved back from the window, and I realized that the decision I had made, which was entirely mine, nobody asked me, the company didn't ask me, my boss didn't ask me. The decision that I had made to come to Germany has a lot of impact on other people. So for me, it's, in a way quite nice. I stay in this room, I can't get out. But, all things considered, I'm being fed a little bit like a monkey in a glass zoo. And I run around and I do all my meetings, but for other people, it's also quite difficult. And I think altogether, it's not so bad, but what it made me think about is all these people around the world that can only wave from afar at their loved ones, and they can see them from afar, but they can't get to them. Whether this is on videos when people are moved from one country to the other and they're not allowed to simply, through immigration laws, to go to the other countries, whether it's people who have COVID and are in hospital and can only wave from outside the room because it's just too dangerous, and lots of other people, including people who are in prison and have to also talk to their loved ones through glass. So all of a sudden you realize I realize that I have a really good life, and can travel around and can move around and can go to the restaurants I like and meet my friends. And I think, so I didn't plan for this to happen on day 3. I thought day 3 and the week would be fairly easy and I would just have all these meetings. But yeah, so it was quite good to go for a run. I really enjoy that, and I look forward to your comments and to your likes, and I hope I can win my bet with my boss for 1,000 subscribers. I have another 11 days to go. Oh yes, and the other thing that happened today was that MOM, the Ministry of Manpower, seems to have all of a sudden remembered that I was in quarantine. So they sent me an SMS, and I will show you how I logged into the Homer app and filed my temperature. I have to file my temperature 3 times a day, so I have to do it 1 more today. And then also send my picture, which they call a selfie. So it was good that I wore a tie for my first 2 selfies. Obviously tonight's selfie will look quite different. I have them won't be too shocked at the ministry. The other great news is I got another 2 deliveries today. So one of them is about the tightening bolts for the weights. So I'll be able to do heavier weights because it won't be as unsafe as using old socks to keep the plates in, which is why yesterday I didn't post any movies or any video of me doing the weights. I thought it was setting a really bad example, but I was a little bit desperate. And the other parcel I'm just gonna open now. So I hope this transition worked, and I've got my trusty silver knife to open the parcel, which I ordered from Amazon. And what I did is I was watching some stuff online, and I noticed that you might need some vitamins to get through the whole COVID quarantine. So one thing is, and it will be very difficult to look at it from there, but I'll post a detailed picture in it. This is vitamin D3 1000 IU. So that's quite interesting because I'm obviously not getting any sun for 2 weeks. I'm getting a little bit concerned, and I also stayed in a hotel in Germany, so there was no sun. I need some D3, and I also had a check on my genetic makeup, and I know that I'm not so good at processing D3 from supplements, so that's why I took a high count. This is by no means an advice, and go and check with your physician, but that's what I do. And then I also took a folic acid 800 micro something grams, a very small amount, and B12 and another B6 complex, and this together with, so this is what from a brand called Now, and this together with high concentrate, 3 times better absorbable omega-3 from a brand called Nutrition, this is their cardio-free product, is really helpful to fight against brain atrophy. And this is something I read online yesterday, so I could not buy the products from this company because it's a delivery to the US only. So I bought the components, and I'm now going to take the separate components together and hope to fight brain atrophy in the next 14 days. So we'll see whether I manage that. You can judge for it. You can judge it through the different videos. Yeah, and I think that's it for today. So until tomorrow.